Onryo. A wandering spirit seeking vengeance.
Welcome to MojoPlays, and today we're taking a look at the 10 most important things to know before playing Ghost of Yotei.
And now, every Ronin here is after you.
Before we begin, we publish new videos all week long, so be sure to subscribe to MojoPlays and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos. The story.
Who are you? I thought we killed your whole family.
As most people may be aware, Ghost of Yotei is not exactly a direct sequel to 2020's Ghost of Tsushima. Well, at least not in the ways a sequel is traditionally made. Instead of Jin Sakai, you will be playing as Atsu, a woman who was left to die after the notorious Yotei 6 had burned down her home and killed her family. 16 years later, Atsu is fueled by revenge and plans to seek out each member of the Yotei 6 to avenge her family.
But a ghost chooses who they will become. And you will know my name.
A crash course on Yotei. Much like how the previous game took place in Tsushima, Ghost of Yotei takes place in another real-world location that you can visit in Japan. Throughout the game, you will be exploring the vast region of Izo, the home of Mount Yotei. This mountain is what's known as a stratovolcano, which are known to have steep inclines and explosive eruptions. It is also known to be one of several mountains that almost perfectly resembles the famous Mount Fuji. And just to preserve the history and culture surrounding Mount Yotei and Izo, developer Sucker Punch Productions worked with cultural advisors while developing Ghost of Yotei. So, just like with Tsushima, you can expect a ton of cultural history to be on full display here. The voices of Atsu.
Situ Rainu. Why do you always call me that? It means one who is easily lost in the hunt.
Much like how Ghost of Tsushima featured noteworthy actors like Daisuke Tsuji, Ghost of Yotei brings two notable actors to play as Atsu. For English acting, Atsu is played by, and modeled after, Erika Ishii, who you might be familiar with from a number of video games. Ishii voiced Zapple in Shantae and the Seven Sirens, Valkyrie in Apex Legends, the Rook in Dragon Age the Veilguard, and Ben Hua in Date Everything. For Japanese voice acting, we have Feiruz Ai, who has lent her voice to a plethora of different Japanese video games. Some of her roles include Katharina in Metaphor ReFantazio, Melisandre in Unicorn Overlord, Luca and Guernica in Persona 5 Tactica, and Shilonen in Genshin Impact. Needless to say, we have a little bit of star power injected into Ghost of Yotei here. Weapons. One of the biggest differences between Ghost of Tsushima and its successor is going to be in combat. In Tsushima, your main weapon was your katana, which boasted some versatility thanks to the 4 different stances you could learn from watching Mongolian leaders. You also had different tools to use in both stealth and combat. Ghost of Yotei is expanding upon this by incorporating a variety of different weapons. Not only will you be able to use a katana, you'll even be able to dual-wield katanas, as well as use weapons like the Odachi, the Yari, the Tanegashima, and Kusarigama. And yes, each one will come with unique abilities to unlock from the skill tree, and each weapon is absolutely visceral in execution. Disarmament. Another interesting mechanic featured in the combat is the ability to disarm enemies. This is going to be an important mechanic for you to nail down because both you and your enemies can utilize this. Of course, if you disarm an enemy, you'll have the perfect opportunity to off another enemy from the group. However, if you get disarmed, you will either have to try and retrieve your weapon or use another in your arsenal. That said, make sure you're learning and using every weapon you have and not just playing favorites. Otherwise, you might wind up struggling later on.
Still think you're the hunter?
bringing the game to the player. In a showcase uploaded in July 2025, Sucker Punch placed a heavy emphasis on how Ghost of Yotei wants to bring the game to the player. This is likely to mitigate the amount of time the player will have to spend backtracking and fast traveling just to locate specific merchants and characters. Sucker Punch hopes to remedy this by tying merchants and side quests to campfires. By resting at campfires, you'll be able to have different characters visit you, bringing you new requests, new inventory to purchase, and much more. So you will be able to spend more time exploring and less time looking at menus and trying to find fast travel points. Progression. For the first time in the studio's history, Sucker Punch is developing a game with an almost completely non-linear design. While the company has created open-world games before, they've all been linear in terms of story progression. For Ghost of Yotei, the majority of the story will happen in whatever order you choose. You'll be able to start tracking down any member of the Yotei 6 as soon as you're let off the leash. In other words, it's a narrative design that's very similar to the modern Assassin's Creed games, so AC fans will feel right at home here. Making games into movies.
We live and we die, but a ghost carves their own path.
The joke these days is how Sony is just making interactive movies instead of, video games. Regardless of how you feel about this notion, Ghost of Yotei is bringing a cinematic experience that is expected of PlayStation first-party studios today. However, it's not just in lush, stunning, panoramic cutscenes. Much like Ghost of Tsushima's Kurosawa mode, Ghost of Yotei will come with 3 different modes to cater to different tastes in samurai-themed media. Kurosawa mode makes its return to make the game evoke the tones of Akira Kurosawa's movies, while Miike mode brings the camera closer in combat and makes attacks much more brutal. Or, if you just want some chill, lo-fi music, there's the Watanabe mode, which replaces the soundtrack with music selected by Shinichiro Watanabe, the director of Cowboy Bebop, Space Dandy, and Carol and Tuesday.
We are beyond the edge of Japan.
The Return of Legends. As awesome as the main game was, there was also a ton of fun to be had in Legends, the multiplayer portion of Ghost of Tsushima. So it was understandable for people to immediately ask if Ghost of Yotei was going to get its own multiplayer mode. Indeed, it will get its own iteration of Legends, but it will not be available at launch. At the time of this video, the expansion will not be added to the game until sometime in 2026. So, just enjoy and savor the main campaign in the meantime. Speaking of which, when is that again? The launch.
Are you going to give me a line?
Ghost of Yotei is available to pre-order right now and will release on October 2nd, 2025. The game will cost $69.99 USD, with some extra items being offered to those who pre-order the Digital Deluxe Edition that retails for $79.99 USD. It is worth noting that the Sony launching Ghost of Yotei is very different from the Sony that released Ghost of Tsushima back in 2020. In 2020, the conglomerate was dipping its toes into the PC market and had only released Tsushima on PS4 and PS5. In this age, Sony's been releasing PC ports at a much faster rate. So, if you're wanting to play Ghost of Yotei on PC, you're gonna likely have to wait until late 2026, maybe early 2027?
Sometimes I feel like that is what I am.
But tell us, are you planning to pick up Ghost of Yotei? I have already locked my pre-order in. I will be playing the second the game unlocks at midnight for me. But let us know what you think down in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to MojoPlays for more great videos every day.